There we go. So this is the batter. As you can see, it's thick, but when you lift the whisk up, it streams down in a ribbon. That's the batter in the middle. Let's give it a go. Very nice. That's the structure. Grand Day Rising, everybody, and welcome back to my channel and another historical recipe. This one is for 8-minute donuts. It's a nice easy recipe from the Post-War Kitchen by Marguerite Patten. The recipe is from 1947, when many things were still on ration in the United Kingdom. Now then, the idea behind the 8-minute donut is that it would probably be fried in a frying pan or skillet in cooking fat, so either lard or dripping if you had it. As usual, I'm going to bring it more up to date, and I'm going to fry the donut in a wok in sunflower oil. So they will probably take a little less than 8 minutes. If you want to, you can add sultanas or a little apple. Otherwise, just keep them plain and roll them in a little sugar. Marguerite Patten says, "The reason I chose this recipe for my very first appearance on television was because I was told that only a boiling ring would be available. This meant I had to cook something in a frying pan or saucepan. I had found this particular recipe popular in demonstrations, so repeated it before cameras. The donuts were fairly flat, rather like a fritter, for there was insufficient fat to fry a thicker mixture. They have a pleasant taste and were very popular with children. When these were made originally, I used more baking powder than in the recipe on the right," which is this recipe here, "even with self-raising flour, for the flour of 1947 was still very heavy. During recent years, paper for draining fried foods had been unobtainable. Now it was beginning to appear." So here's Marguerite Patten as a young woman making her first television appearance. So the idea is that you shallow fry the donuts, and once the donuts are brown on all sides, you turn the heat down and allow them to finish cooking so they're not raw in the middle. So without further ado, let's get started. In a bowl, I have 8 ounces or 225 grams of plain flour with 2 teaspoons of baking powder. If you prefer, you can use 225 grams or 8 ounces of self-raising flour instead, and then you don't need the 2 teaspoons of baking powder. I'm adding a pinch of kosher sea salt to the bowl, and I'm doing 2 tablespoons of caster sugar, or you can use granulated. The recipe just specifies sugar, so it depends what you have available. I'm going to stir these round with this whisk. Those are all the dried ingredients stirred. And then I'm going to add 150 millilitres or a quarter pint of milk. We're stirring as we go along. You need to have a thick batter. And we're going to add 2 eggs. I'll put them in one at a time. It's one of those recipes that doesn't go into a huge amount of detail, so I guess it's freestyle, however you wish. The Seagulls are celebrating last night's England win against Mexico. We're now in the quarterfinals. Certainly we seem to be blessed because historically Mexico have won most of their matches, so we've done very well. There we go. So this is the batter. As you can see, it's thick, but when you lift the whisk up, it streams down in a ribbon. That's exactly the mixture we're looking for. Look at that. Lovely ribbons, nice and thick. Here's the wok. I've added some sunflower oil, not a huge amount. I'm using the wok because I think it's safer than using a shallow frying pan for deep frying. This is in an effort to keep it reasonably authentic. I have a friend coming around soon though, so I want the doughnuts to cook maybe a minute or two quicker than the recipe states. And here I have an enamel bowl. It's a shallow bowl. I've just put a couple of tablespoons of caster sugar in here to roll the doughnuts around in. And you know, if you haven't got a bowl, you can use a plate. And if you prefer to use granulated sugar, you can use that, but I prefer the finer texture of the caster sugar. While the oil is heating to temperature, I'll just say that I'm only going to do about half the batter. I have another friend coming round on Wednesday and I'll cook up the rest of the doughnuts then. The batter keeps well refrigerated in an airtight container or in a jug or bowl covered with cling film. You can of course do the same with pancake mixture or Yorkshire pudding mixture. It will keep for a couple of days or so perfectly well. I've spooned a few tablespoons of batter into the wok and I've put the extractor fan on. They are cooking quite nicely, they are quite flat, but once I flip them over, they should start to puff up. Here they are flipped over. As you can see, they're getting nice and brown and they've puffed up a bit. They'll be ready in the next 2 or 3 minutes. I've turned them over again and you can see how they've puffed up. They look smashing. They've certainly stayed true to the 1947 recipe. I've removed them from the wok and I'm draining them on some kitchen paper and then I'll transfer them to the sugar bowl. We're just rolling them around in the sugar. Lovely jubbly. I've made 6 lovely doughnuts here. Most of them are okay. There's this one which is a bit misshapen. Let's try that one. You could in fact use an ice cream scoop to spoon in the dough mixture, or you might use a piping bag and do ring doughnuts. Also pouring directly from the jug might also help, but it doesn't really matter what shape they are because they're homemade, they've been made with love. Just enjoy them exactly as they come out, exactly as they are. So here is my misshapen donut. It looks to be cooked all the way through. You can test them with a skewer as well, just to make sure. That's the batter in the middle. Let's give it a go. They're nice. That's the structure. They have puffed up. They taste nice and light, airy. They're browned to perfection. You don't want them too pale or they won't be cooked inside. I in fact cook them on a slightly lower temperature so I could be assured that they would be cooked all the way through. The recipe says start them off on a high heat and then turn the heat down. I prefer to use a moderate heat and just turn them as and when necessary to make sure they're cooked all the way through. And if I'm not quite sure, then I test them with the skewer. This one's perfect. Look at that. Look at the air bubbles. And they taste absolutely amazing. But it's a lot cheaper than going to the grocery store and buying a pack of doughnuts as well. Very successful. But what do you think? Would you try this recipe? I think I would like it with grated apple or sultana, and I might do some sultana ones on Wednesday. They might also be nice with a little jam. You could puncture the bottoms and then syringe in a little jam. Although that might be a bit fiddly, or you could ice them. Either white icing, pink icing, some sprinkles. You can dress them up or down as you wish. They might also be nice sliced, although do be careful, and filled with jam and cream. These work really well and they're very versatile, but let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And then please give this video a like. Please share and subscribe if you wish to do so. It's absolutely free. Ring that notification bell. Ding a ding ding. And I will see you soon for another one. Until then, bye for now and bon appetit. I'm going to really enjoy finishing this donut off. And my friend hasn't even arrived yet. What am I like?